And away we go. It is the Holy Grail BCJ podcast right here on BearcatJournal.com. I'm Chad Brendel. He's Dave Simone. Thanks, as always, to our title sponsor, the Holy Grail Banks. Make sure you're getting down there for all of your sports entertainment activities. Get you some blueberry beers. Get you some Reuben wontons. We haven't had those in a while. I'm sure Kelly's going to head down there at some point in time here soon. Kelly got to go to a game on Sunday. It didn't go well, but she got to go to the game.
It was her fault.
Yeah, she's not allowed to ever go back.
That's the way my dad used to be with Bengals games. If he brought someone
and they
that
lost,
wasn't like a regular and they lost, you weren't ever allowed to go again.
She had a great time. Got to see a bunch of our UC friends that got to say hi to Kelly and help her have a delightful Sunday afternoon. So that was nice. The game, not so much. It was better than the experience yesterday, Dave, when I was about to murder someone at roughly 10 after 9. Not because, they hadn't started playing bad yet at that point in time. It was like 7-4 or 9-4. They won the opening segment, Dave.
Yeah,
got to count for something.
Sure.
But instead, the ESPN shit show that.
Yeah, I noticed that.
What? They know games go over, right? They're aware of this. Sometimes games go over their allotted time slot. But when I turned at 9:00 to ESPNU and saw West Virginia and Iowa State had like 5.5 minutes left, I was like, oh, great. So then they put the little bug up that said, just go to the app. The game's on the app. Went to the app. Took me a couple minutes to find it because it wasn't anywhere readily accessible to click on the link to watch on the app. Then clicked on the link and told me that the game had not started yet, even though it was in the first media timeout. And that continued until the game went live on ESPNU at the under 12 media stop, 8+ minutes into the game after a segment where Cincinnati had just turned it over 4 times and gave up a 12-4 run or whatever it was.
Yeah, we're in a safe space here, right? This is a safe space.
Yeah, you didn't watch.
Nope. Once I realized that the app wasn't working, and then I saw that it was NBA All-Star Weekend Orlando edition when this game actually finally came on, I was like, not watching it. And to make matters even worse, guess what I did watch?
Xavier.
Yep.
Well, I mean, they lost, so
it was interesting.
It was a good game, Xavier game.
It was compelling.
Yeah.
But nope, I was like, nah, I know how this is going to end up. I can get some sleep. I don't need to stay up till 11 o'clock to see a 15-point loss.
But Dave, you co-host a podcast where we talk about the games.
I know. I can still talk about it.
You can still talk about a game you didn't watch?
Yeah, it's the exact same thing I said last week.
Which is?
Consistently inconsistent. And I think of late,
they're out of gas, man.
They're just not very good, and they're getting worse.
They're not getting worse. They're staying the same. They are who they are.
Well, I mean, I guess so. I mean,
they got worse. They got worse in one facet for 12 minutes yesterday, which sunk them, which was just inexplicably turning the ball over. There was this issue in the
but they did that the other
Brandon era,
not the Temple game, the game before that when they turned.
Not at this level. Oh boy, this was live ball turnovers for dunks, turnovers for touchdowns.
Well, yeah,
just scratching your head, what the hell were you just doing? You threw the ball right to them for them to go dunk it.
9 made baskets in the first half, and UCF had 7 dunks.
Yeah, the crazy part. They didn't turn it over once in the second half. They turned it over 11 times in 13 minutes in the first half and didn't turn it over the rest of the game. That's the hardest part about this team, right?
Well, and I think
none of it makes any sense.
We've gotten to the point too. I'm sure you have been asked this. I threw out kind of a, hey, what do you guys want to hear us talk about tonight? I threw that tweet out there, and someone asked, should they have a new starting lineup? But this one, they're digging holes from the get-go. This one's obviously not working. And my response is like, what do you really think is going to happen with this?
Right.
The starting lineup isn't the issue. If someone that wasn't starting was showing that they should be starting, I don't think Wes would not be starting them. You don't just make a change to make a change, hoping that somebody that hasn't shown you anything in practice will all of a sudden show you something different because they're starting.
Well, the answer to that question is very easy. Why isn't Wes changing the starting lineup? Because he feels the starting lineup is his best opportunity to win
That's
games.
what I mean. Like, if someone 6 through whatever was playing to the level to show that of a starter, he would start them.
Right.
They're just not. I mean, like, we've kind of what we've talked about and harped about all year is like, you have some nice pieces, a couple, nice players, but those guys need to be like super on their game. And they're just not like, these aren't shots. I mean, they're not very good. Like the parts aren't that great.
Right.
And the guys that have shown to be good at times are wildly inconsistent from game to game or half to half or even 10 minutes to 10 minutes. Like, so you're just going to have these, like, they're just, I don't know. And I think you look back, the Illinois game is clearly an aberration. You played really, really good. But other than that, SMU's kind of the only game that against a team that I would consider good to pretty good that they've won. I mean, if you look at the wins, there's a lot of empty.
Well, did you see the stat that I saw yesterday?
I don't know.
If you add Central Florida into the mix, they are 1-7 against the teams above them in the conference.
Yeah. And
6-1 against the teams below them in the conference. They are who they like. That tells you right there.
Yeah.
They are who they are. Like it's a team full of, and this is where I think people get, and somebody posted this on the message board, I think today or last night, and it's pretty accurate. It's a team with a lot of one skill guys. Like guys that have like one skill that stands out, that makes them a competent player at this level.
But even that, you can't. It's a skill that can't necessarily be counted on to produce every game.
Well, the problem with that is when you have a bunch of one skill guys, none of them get to be really just good at their one skill, right? Because then they have to try to be something that they're not, because they're playing minutes that they don't necessarily need to be playing. So, like, if you had a team with a Jaron Cumberland and your one skill was catch and shoot, Jaron driving and dishing is going to accentuate your skill. They don't have anybody on this team really that drives and dishes. And Dave has done it a little bit more of late because teams have had to respect his scoring ability a little bit more.
Who is he dishing to?
Right. But you don't have, like, when you're trying to put a roster on the floor, right? Well, okay, like we got these guys that can play offense. We got these guys that can play defense somewhat. That has regressed significantly. Well, Newman's pretty good defensively. Abdul's still good defensively. That's about it. It was the big switching every screen, but it had nothing to do with the big switching the screen. It was not communicating the switch. And when you don't communicate, that's where I think a lot of this is mental fatigue, because they're not doing the necessary things like defensively communicating, making the extra rotation. They're developing poor habits as the season goes on, because I think they're dead. Wes talked about it in this fashion after the game, and I think there is something to this, especially when you have to maximize your potential to even stand a chance, and because of the rescheduling the Memphis game and how short and choppy that made everything. This team's not practicing much. And they're just trying to get through to the next game is a 36-hour turnaround or a 48-hour turnaround. When you're deficient in as many areas as this team is, you need as much time on the practice court to drill. This is exactly what we need to do. This is exactly how we need to defend this team. This is exactly what they're going to try to do to us. And when you're not getting that, and you're just hoping that they go out there and execute what you tell them, that makes it difficult. And when you're running as many games in a string together as you have, there's fatigue, whether it's physical fatigue or mental fatigue, it's there. Wes won't say it because he says he doesn't make excuses, and he's not gonna stoop down to that level. But you can see it. They're just
I don't think they're excuses. I mean,
well, but when I asked him about it, he's like, I'm not going to give any credence to that because I think that's an excuse. I'm like, okay, but your team's gassed, man.
Yeah, I mean, they're 3-6 in their last 9. This is going all the way back to after the Memphis game that got canceled. They played on the 6th, the 9th, the 12th, the 15th, the 17th, the 20th, the 23rd, and now they're going to play on the 26th.
Right.
Usually in that stretch, you get a week, basically a week.
There's always regroup.
There's always just a time where you don't have. That's basically
the American Conference. The American Conference, in their infinite wisdom, gave Cincinnati the final weekend of the season off. Why? Why are you giving anybody the final weekend of the season off?
Well, if the Memphis
and making them play all of those games through February.
Yeah, if the Memphis game doesn't have to be rescheduled, they would have had a game on the 12th at Tulsa and then not had another game until at home against Wichita State.
Yeah, so you had a couple days there.
Yeah.
Which is why they stuck the Memphis game in there. And now they stick the Houston game in after South Florida. So again.
Yeah, so you just finish
bang, 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 bang.
23rd, 26th, 1st, 3rd.
Yeah. In a 28-day month. This is all kind of stacked up against them. And it's unfortunate because I thought they got everything out of their talent all the way up to about – scroll up, Aaron, real quick. Probably what? All the way through that Tulsa game. Right there on January 20th. They've only won what? 3? Is that's the breaking point that we've got here? They've only won 3 times since then. So that was their 14th win. And the loss at Temple clearly shifted the momentum of the season. Which, as it turns out, that Temple team's pretty solid. They're young, they're starting to come into their own, they defend, they're long.
Yeah, since the Temple loss, which is a month ago tomorrow, they're 3-6.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
And their wins are East Carolina, South Florida, and Wichita State, who they own.
Yeah, for whatever reason, Wichita State is going to be very happy to see Cincinnati head to the Big 12. I'll tell you that. It wasn't just the pick and roll defense, Luke. Their defense has just been, and it's so hard to fathom because that was why they were strong through that, right around that Temple game.
Yeah, till mid-January.
Well, until the second time they started getting the second time through the conference schedule.
I mean, the defense was still okay against Temple. I mean, it was a low score. It was just
After that Temple game. Yeah, Temple's offense isn't great. But then you started once Memphis, and maybe right before Memphis hit, teams just figured out something.
Well, that's what we mean. Like, Temple's offense isn't great, but when they came here, they were pretty darn good.
Oh, yeah. They haven't really, other than South Florida, they haven't really stopped anybody in a month, which has got to be driving Wes crazy because that's his bread and butter. Like, it's a guy that puts a heavy value on defense, and they are just playing defense at a dreadful level in stretches. Dreadful.
Yeah, I mean, in all these losses since the Temple loss, nobody scored under 75.
Mm-hmm. It's really hard to win in college basketball if you can't hold anyone under 75 points. But there's not much to talk about in the game, I don't think.
No, I mean, I think it's just
plus you didn't watch it, so.
Well, it's just been this. Is it really that much different than what we've been seeing?
No. Here's where I want everybody to reflect and maybe be careful. So everybody wants this roster completely gutted, right?
Well, I don't think you necessarily you don't just get better because you have new players.
Right. I want to present to you, Dave, the 2007-2008 Cincinnati Bearcats.
Okay.
That was a team that was technically very old. Technically. Why were they very old? Because in 2006-2007, they brought in 7 junior college players to be able to field a team. So only one of those players left. So you go into the next season, you had a really old roster. But you also had Rashad Bishop, Darnell Wilkes, Anthony McLean, Larry Davis, Alvin Mitchell, which doesn't necessarily count. But you brought in
probably the highest rated recruit of that whole group. Wilkes was high too.
Wilkes was highly rated, and Biggie was also highly rated. Mike Williams was injured, so you didn't have him that season. Mick decided that those were going to be the foundation guys, right? Now, he brought all of them in, so this is a little different than what you're dealing with this year. But that team stunk. They won 13 games.
Yeah.
That's not a good team. But he's stuck with primarily the core of that team. Now, things are a little different now because of the transfer portal. That you can try to throw a Band-Aid on things a little faster. But the next class that he built above that team, that crop of freshmen, Yancey Gates, Deion Dixon, Kashmir Wright. The group after that, Sean Kilpatrick, Lance Stevenson, Jaquan Parker.
Those guys were all old as soon as they stepped on campus.
Some of them were. But my point being, when they made the tournament for the first time in Mick's tenure, yes, that team was led by primarily Yancey, Deion, Cash, SK, but the backbone of that team was the Goon Squad.
Mm-hmm.
And the Goon Squad was pretty much outside of Bishop, who was a starter, the entirety of that first freshman class that knew what their role was, had grown into the program, and had skin in the game. It meant a lot to them to return the program back to the tournament after what they had been through their first 3 years of college. Where I'm going with this is the skin in the game part. I talked about this a lot on the radio today. You want people that you're building around to be invested, to be fully invested. And I don't know that transfers are always that.
No, I mean, you need guys that it means something to.
Right.
Like, 1 year, 2 year, mercenaries. If things go off the rails a little bit, how much do they care?
Right. So I caution that to be careful in terms of
I guess the catch-22 to that though is how many guys on this current roster do you feel comfortable about being those type of guys moving forward? And
I don't know, because when I watched,
I'm not advocating for some, massive roster upheaval.
when I watched that freshman year, I didn't think Darnell Wilkes could play. I didn't think Larry Davis could play. I didn't think Anthony McLean could play. Like, those guys didn't. The only one really out of that group, well, you felt good about Alvin at times, but he had like 4 personalities. So
I guess it matters more like who else comes in to raise the level of those guys to where they're not relied upon to fill major roles so that they can grow.
Yeah,
and then when they're juniors and seniors, they're vital parts of your program, even if they're not starters. But like those guys couldn't continue to be the best players on the team.
Of course, which is why recruiting is important. And we've seen Wes Miller have success already. Dan Skillings, Josh Reed, Sage Tolentino. Like, Sage is probably going to take a year or two, but he's still seen as one of the 5 to 10 best big men in this class.
Right.
And
but it's just, and this class is even probably more important because that's that, if we're using it as the corollaries to what you're talking
Nancy
about.
Dion Cash.
Right. It's the next class. So like the 2023 class.
Right. Where SK,
really
Park, Lance.
You really need to hit it out of the park.
Yeah. And they're, Isaiah Collier.
And I think that's not the apprehension, but it's just the unknown is like, you got to see what that becomes.
Sure.
To necessarily feel good that this is not going to, that this is going to be a 1 to 2 year blip and not a, 4 to 5 year, trend.
Sure. But we didn't know that then. We don't know that now. We won't know it until we get there.
No, we don't. But I think it just makes fans a little uneasy because,
if you're going to do it right, there's no quick fix to it. That's what I'm saying.
You're right. But fans, I mean, they're not close to the same thing, but it's like locally, we just watched a terrible, terrible football team for 2 years end up going to the Super Bowl. They're not the same. I'm not comparing the two. But fans have been fans of very, very successful, very, very winning Cincinnati Bearcat basketball for a long time. And
quit being a bitch. Sometimes it takes a little time to get things back on track.
Oh yeah, that's you. Yes, let's preach patience to 2022 America. Yeah. Good luck. You get out in front of that line, and I'll have your back. I'll be back here going, yeah, this was his idea. Yeah, good luck with that one, pal.
But there's no alternative.
I didn't say there wasn't, but good luck selling that.
Like, if you don't have patience, you're just going to be mad all the time because this is not a quick fix.
Yes.
It's not something that happens overnight. Now, you bring these 3 kids in, you figure out what you have to do ultimately is you figure out which of these younger guys are going to be your core. Because obviously, best case, DeJulius and Newman have 1 more year. I think Odie can have 2 more years, but he'll be technically a senior next year. Like, those guys aren't going to be the core of 2023 when prospectively you're going into the Big 12.
Right.
So who is out of, Saunders, Madsen, obviously JD and Micah aren't going to be around, or they could be COVID seniors that year if they wanted to, but
that thing's going to get fake. Less and less guys are going to
Yeah.
As this goes on, you're just not going to see that as much because they're going to be further and further away from the year that was, taken away.
Right. And can you, because I think you're going to probably
and frankly, that might just go away. Like at some point, there's not going to be you're not going to be able to keep doing that.
Well, but it was promised to everyone that was part of the sport in 2020, 2021. They get a COVID year. Everyone that was in college athletics gets a COVID year if they so choose.
So like a guy that was a freshman redshirt or a freshman can still do that in like what would probably be like 2025.
Yep. That's 2024. You could go into 2025 with your COVID year. That's how it was.
It's all right. I saw, I forget who he was playing for. Kansas, I think. Monday night. A guy on Kansas is in his 6th year and 4th team.
Yeah, love it.
He's on my college plan.
So I'm saying.
No, you need to see what this next group does and what they're able to bring in for 2023. I feel like before you can truly make any hard line declarations about.
But I'm more talking about from the coaching. Like, how are you behind the scenes structuring this going forward? Because I don't think you can't continue to start over and over and over again. This is why the roster is where it is. Because for 3 consecutive years, they turned over half or more than half of the roster. Do you want to know why the roster looks like a jumbled fucking mess? Is because it hasn't looked the same from year to year since like 2018. Like that, right. It's impossible to build a program that way. You can't. You're constantly, plugging holes, and you keep plugging and more keep popping open, and you keep plugging and more keep popping open, and in due time, you forget what the hell you were doing in the first place, right? You're just I need a point guard, you. I need a forward, you. And then you get them all together, and it looks like this roster, because none of it necessarily complements itself. Because I said, it's a lot of one-skill guys. And what do one-skill guys need? One-skill guys need 3 and 4 and 5-skill guys around them so that they can just focus on their one skill or excel in their one skill. And you just can't do it. It's just the frustrating part of the lack of patience, where this roster needs an enema. Everybody's got to go. West better find 4 spots, 5 spots in the transfer portal. It's not going to work that way. It can't work that way if you're planning to have any level of sustained success.
No, the transfer portal should be viewed as a compliment and not a roster builder.
Correct. The transfer portal should be, okay, we got a chance to be pretty good this year. I think if we could get a starting 3-and-D wing.
We need a shot blocker.
Yeah, we need a shot blocker. We need a point guard that can get us a couple buckets.
It's we need 3 starters.
Right. It's not free agency. I know everybody likes to call it free agency. It is not free agency.
No, because even in free agency, the best players don't hit free agency.
Right.
So it's even below that. So, and there's countless different reasons why guys are in the portal. And it's not as some coaches try to make it out like it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But if you're truly good, or you're truly valuable to your team, you're not in the portal. Let's just be real.
Unless you hate your coach, unless you just have to get out of your current situation.
Sure.
There are a few guys out there that are like that. But for the most part, you're in the portal.
Those guys that are good but hate their coach, they're not coming to UC.
They might. We don't know that.
Well,
but there's not, the problem being there's not many of them out there. Like there's not a plethora, just guys everywhere.
Right. Like how many guys are really good, hate their coach, and it really truly is like a total one-sided thing. Because there's truth there. When there's a disagreement between coach and player, I don't think it's ever like, oh, this guy is 100%. This player was 100% right.
Right.
Like he did nothing wrong to have this relationship disintegrate.
Right. Generally, there's a reason. Generally, not always, but correct.
So, yeah, I mean, there's the younger guys. But see, that's the thing is some of those guys, they're going to need to prove that they can be that building block piece, or Wes isn't really going to have a choice. That's the unfortunate part is you need them to be that, but they also have to prove that. Because he's not just going to keep, treading water, so to speak, hoping that younger guys turn into quality, program guys that he can then supplement with higher level talent guys. Those guys have to take that next step, or they're going to get recruited over.
Sure.
And you're doing the whole the whole changing out half the roster because you don't have any other choice.
He's got a
that is my concern, that moving to the Big 12, the younger guys that we need to take those steps, that they just don't get there, and that's where the problem lies. And that's where it exposes itself, is they maybe could have got there in the American, but they're just not good enough to get there in the Big 12.
But we don't know what that looks like yet.
I'm saying that's my concern, is that that happens. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, by no means.
Well, you would hope by the time you get, 2023, this incoming recruiting class will be sophomores. Whatever you get from the portal this year, which I think will be one or two guys, definitely a big, like a rim protecting big. That
those guys would have to be 2-year guys.
Yeah, I don't think right now you're in much of a position to go get grad transfers.
No, I don't either. But you get what you get. I mean,
yeah, I just think philosophically you need to get right now. You need to get like a little younger before you can go into the Big 12 and get old.
You can't replace Hayden and Adu with 2 more big grad transfers, knowing that in 2023 you're going to have to replace them again, and you're going up to the Big 12.
Right. So you would like to have guys for 2 years transfer, at least 2 years transfer wise, if you're bringing them in.
Yeah, you need some older guys who their first year is in the Big 12.
Right.
Or their second year. Sorry, their second year is in the Big 12.
Yeah. No, it's I don't envy the staff, because they are not going to have it easy once this offseason hits. Tough decisions to make, tough conversations to have, and then going and figuring out the right pieces to – because, I mean, that's the beauty of basketball, though, right? Is it really – like, you can change your entire outlook with 2 guys, 3 guys.
Yeah.
If you get 1 or 2 starters and a really good, guy off the bench that can give you 18 minutes a game, all of a sudden everything about this roster changes.
Well, yeah. Plus, if you get a couple of the younger guys,
the freshmen hit, right,
take some steps, that they become. It's not even that they become like major contributors. It's just. You just need some dudes that you kind of like we talked about. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, like with Memphis and Josh Minott. Like, you just need some guys that you basically know what you're getting on a night in and night out basis. And that's the part that they just don't have that right now. Like,
that is factual.
you just don't know. And you need some of those younger guys to step into a role that maybe isn't a starter's role, but it's at least like, I know what I'm getting. Like, I'm going to get this basically every game. Because I think that's what makes it hardest of all. It makes it frustrating to the highest level, is just the not knowing, like, how do you recruit? How do you develop? How do you do all these things when you literally, like, I don't know what, I don't know what I'm getting on a night in, night out basis.
I mean, you would love if like a Josh Reed comes in and can be a 7.4 rebound guy off the bench, right? Like, that would answer a lot of problems. But until they get here, I think if anybody would have the chance next year, I do think it would probably be Josh.
Yeah.
I think Skillings is the higher ceiling guy. I think Reed is more college ready, like day one.
Yeah, to at least give you 15 solid minutes a night.
Right. So, what is it with when we record on Thursday nights? Everybody wants to like message me,
like personally message you,
text messages, DMs on Twitter. Like, for some reason, there's just a flag that goes up.
Can you share any of them?
No, it's not anything like relevant. It's just like people just want to hit me up. Like, hey, what's going on? Like, I'm busy. I'm working.
Matt wants to know if you're excited to hit the road for AAU tournaments this spring and summer.
Always. I love doing AAU tournaments. It's a grind. It's a chore, but it allows me the ability to speak on Daniel Skillings and Josh Reed, right? Like, I saw both of those guys at least 5 times this spring and summer. So when the topic of, what do those guys look like? What's their potential? What's their game? It gives me the opportunity to have an informed opinion. So yeah, I've always enjoyed. Plus, I've been doing this a long time now. I've been going out on the road for like 12 years now. And you get to the point where there's a lot of coaches you're friends with. There's a lot of, you end up getting to know a lot of the referees, even kind of media members. Like, it's just a good time. It's great networking. It's great for content, and I'm ate up enough in the head that I enjoy going and working like 16 hours a day.
Plus, after the last 2 years, it'll just be fun to hopefully get to go back out and do some of that.
We were out last year. I was out last year.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
I mean, that's when I got to see Josh and Dan.
It still probably wasn't the same, though.
No, it wasn't. There were some changes, and I had to be careful because of Kelly.
Right.
And I still will be, but it was the first year back. So it wasn't like full blast what it used to be, but it'll slowly get back to that the more and more it goes along. And you learn a lot. You learn about, like, as you're watching, these are the guys that they're interested in. As you're watching the guys that they're interested in, you start to get more sense of like, okay, this is the type of player that they want. You know what I mean? Like, this is what they gravitate towards. This is the type of wing that they like. This is the type of point guard that they look at. The point guard thing is going to be fascinating for me, because I thought they looked at quite a few really good point guards last spring and summer, and the evaluation on all of them was not good enough. Like, Wes wants NBA point guards. So does everybody. But it seems like that is his most strict evaluation, right? If the point guard isn't this, and this, I'm not taking it. Because there were some dudes I thought, like, man, that guy, there's been worse point guards that have played at UC. And the evaluation when I start talking to people was like, nah, that's not it. Okay. So there's some guys in 2023, not point guards, but the point guards and others that I like a lot. And the staff is kind of like, I think we're looking for better. And I'm like, okay.
Looking for better and getting better are two different things.
Sure. That you go back to the old Mick Cronin recruiting philosophy. Don't recruit, get.
Yeah. Don't spend all day on someone that if you really were honest with yourself, you're probably not getting.
That's not how Chad Dollar recruits, though, right?
Well, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Bring him then.
Right?
Yeah.
We'll see how it ends up.
I'm fine with that philosophy as
long as it works.
If you get him.
As long as it works.
Yeah.
I do think it will work a lot easier with the best basketball conference in the country as a backdrop for where you're going to get to play.
You'd hope so.
If not, then it's a coach. That's a coach problem.
Well, and the minutes that should be available.
There should be those. There definitely should be those.
And that's, just like with football recruiting. Can you get me to the league? And how quick can I play?
Right.
The other stuff is not as important as a lot of people make it out to be.
The difference in football, realistically, they all have to wait 3 years to get to the league.
Right.
So you get a little bit more leeway in football.
Yeah.
In basketball, those big-time kids are thinking, I'm going to the league next year.
Yep.
Can you get me there? We're on the fast track. We're not on the developmental train.
No.
We're on the I'm getting to the league train. All right, I think that's about what I've got on basketball.
Timestamp it, Aaron.
Timestamp, y'all. I got to call that guy and see if he wants to really sponsor the timestamps. I've been meaning to do it, and life has just been not.
That stupid life.
That stupid life thing has not been cooperating.
Yeah.
Football. We are, let's see, 9 days away from the start of spring practice days.
It's ridiculous. I got an email tonight from Athlon asking if I was in again to write the preview, and I was like, didn't the season just end?
Yeah.
Like, I need to start writing the 2022 preview, and it's like, yeah, the season did just end, and now it's about to start again.
Yeah, we're about to crank back up spring practice. I figure we'll do I don't want it to be like an extensive, exhaustive preview of each side of the ball, because I think especially with this camp, it's going to be more important to do these afterwards, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe just like 3 things.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could just pop through position by position and not be like super long-winded about it. Would you rather do offense this week or defense this week? And then next week we'll do the other.
Let's do offense.
All right, offense. Quarterback.
Not much going on there.
Who takes snap number 1? Next Saturday. Who is...
Is Saturday the first practice?
The 5th.
Is that like the very first one, though, like with the acclimation period and everything?
Yeah.
I'll say Evan takes snap number 1.
I'm going to guess Ben.
Okay. Good. We're on opposite sides, so we'll see what happens.
I think we are very much, though, no matter what happens through spring, we are going to see as close to a 50-50 split in reps between those two.
Well, I would hope. I mean, unless someone is just so much better than the other in spring, I would hope so. I mean, that's what spring is for.
And by that, I mean, for people that are new to Bearcat Journal or new to our coverage, new to the inner workings of things like spring football, the way it generally works is like one of 2 ways, and they've done it both. I'll be interested to see how they do it this year. But one guy will be with the ones one day, and then the next day the other guy is with the ones. Or they've gone as far. Like I think I remember when the year 2018, they were pretty much splitting like throughout practice. So Des would run with the ones, Hayden would run with the twos, and then the next drill they would switch, and Hayden would run with the ones, and Des would run with the twos.
That'll be the interesting part because we just haven't. It's been so long, like we didn't get to see spring ball, the 1 year.
And last year we were kind of limited. We were there.
Last year we were limited, but we basically knew everything that was going to happen.
Yeah, last year was the can of corn.
We knew exactly pretty much everything that was going to happen.
So we haven't really gotten to see how a spring practice runs when you have so much competition, so many different positions for a while.
Right.
Even 2019, it wasn't like it's going to be this year. So you really have to go back to 2018 to a spring practice where, there are more questions than there are already kind of confirmed answers.
Right. I think it's going to be fascinating, quarterback. I can't wait to see, how it evolves. If you had to guess, and we know how Luke is, right? Like there's not gonna be a QB1. There's zero chance there's a QB1 coming out of spring. Mm-mm. He is riding this baby all the way to the last week of higher ground, if not all the way to the opening game.
What's Luke's philosophy? I don't need to tell you anything until I need to tell you.
Right.
There doesn't need to be a QB1 at the end of spring, so there's not going to be a QB1 at the end of spring.
Right. So if you're expecting QB1 by the end of spring, don't. Running back. Ryan Montgomery's probably going to be the first guy.
That's what I would think.
I think Ethan Wright is it running back or it's safety?
I think first, I think Ryan Montgomery's earned it.
Yes, I don't disagree with that.
And second, I think Ethan Wright is still at running back.
Okay, I do too.
Not because I just think they like the options at safety and they want to see those guys.
But this also could be Luke saying, I want to see what Ethan Wright looks at safety. We know what he is at running back.
Sure. I mean, the spring is the time for that thing. I mean, we saw it with Alec Pierce at linebacker, which lasted, a day.
It was about a week. He looked so out of place at linebacker. Like he had no desire to be at linebacker in any way, shape, or form. It lasted a couple days, and then he was back at wide receiver. Charles McClellan, Ethan Wright. I'm really excited for Miles Montgomery.
Yep.
I think
that's what I want to see.
I think Miles Montgomery can move all the way up to RB2 or potentially the main guy if he crushes it this spring.
Yeah, I'm not gonna we haven't seen him obviously, so I'm not gonna say anything.
I've seen him enough on scout team where he's had some runs.
Yeah, but I want to see him getting carries with the ones.
I do too. I'm just saying, running back is, for me, running back is different because running back, either you see it or you don't. Right? And it doesn't matter first team, scout team, and remember, scout team a lot of times is running against the first team defense. And there were times watching him run against the first team defense that you're like, this kid's got a little speed, a little power, a little bit of everything. I'm fascinated for, and here's the other thing that I forgot to mention. We don't know. You never know who they're going to have on their take it easy list in the spring.
Sure.
Who's nursing still from stuff that happened in the season and being only 2 months from the end of the season. Maybe you want to give this guy a light load. I don't think we'll see Josh.
The entire defensive backfield the 1 year.
Yeah. Everybody just kind of hung out during spring football. Running back will be very interesting.
And that's why I want to see Miles, because his high school stuff reminded me a lot of LaShawn McCoy. And our sources seem to be pretty excited about him. So I want to see if I'm also excited about him.
And who recruited Miles Montgomery?
The new offensive coordinator.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you love your guys, right? Like you spend a lot of time recruiting them.
Everybody has a favorite child. They just won't admit it.
Yeah. Those people that say that they love all their children the same are liars.
Liars.
I'm not sure Kelsey's my favorite kid.
She's your only.
Right?
That you know.
Wide receiver. We know most of what I think we need to know here in terms of the ones. Jaden Thompson, Tyler Scott, Trey Tucker, Nick Mardner is going to kind of be the wild card. I'm interested in Chris Scott. I'm interested in seeing where Will Pauling's improvement places him. How close to Trey Tucker is he?
I'm interested in Mardner just from the fact of he's not.
They haven't had a guy like him.
He's not he's not coming here to just chill with the twos.
Right.
So how do they work him in with Tyler Scott?
Well, I think they'll be on opposite sides. I think you want Mardner as your boundary guy, Tyler Scott as your field guy. Jaden Thompson versus Nick Mardner is going to be kind of the.
I feel like Jaden Thompson's ready for a big move.
I think so too.
Because when you really watch him, and he was just behind some older veteran, I think he's got the best true wide receiver skills of anybody on the team.
I don't deny that. I don't disagree with that. I mean, he was a 4-star prospect for a reason.
I'm ready to see him kind of ascend into that type of a dude.
Did I say Chris Scott? I'm excited to see where Chris Scott is at.
Chris Scott, it'll be interesting to how he works in with what Gino wants to do, because he was, how you could I compare it to the Bengals, when Mike Thomas came in the game, you knew it was a run.
Right.
Almost 100% of the time. Chris Scott was Chris Scott's in, they're running.
Yeah.
Because he's
same as Wyatt Fisher.
Damn good blocker.
When Wyatt Fisher came on the field, it was 100% a run.
But Chris Scott would be on more.
Yeah.
So, I'm interested to see if he can expand his role from that and see who else. Obviously, future Ring of Honor name Will Pauling. Definitely want to see what he has.
Yeah, I mean, I think you feel really comfortable with what you have at the top of that wide receiver room, and you're going to get a chance.
I think you feel really, really good in the slot too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Trey kind of
Trey
took
Tucker and Will Pauling
last year at the end of the year from Mike.
Yeah. Well, Mike was hurt.
But Trey seized the opportunity too. I mean, he didn't. You're right.
And then I want to see JoJo Bermudez.
He seems fast.
Right? That's already
is he fast? Is he more quick than fast? Is he?
See, I think he's a combo. I think he's both.
Is he so he's like a Tyreek Hill?
Hopefully.
Or is he like a Johnny Holton?
Johnny was 6'2", though. Johnny.
No, but I mean, right. But we just said
Johnny's just fast. No, I think this kid's got a little shake to him. So I'm excited to get a look. I think he's going to be. I think we're going to be talking about JoJo like we talked about Will Pauling.
I'm kind of interested to see. Just I don't know. I know he did kickoffs and stuff, and special teams in high school is weird. Some states, if you kick it in the end zone, you can't return it.
Right.
I'm interested to see where he lines up. If he's because if Ryan Montgomery is going to be your number 1 or number 2 back, I doubt you're going to put him back on punt return anymore. So
and do you maybe want to get Trey less
on kickoff?
On kickoff.
So who kind of does JoJo? Does he fit in somewhere in that world?
Yeah.
As a true freshman?
Or is his path to success Gunner, as we've seen? Do you really want? And they're awesome, so you might want them.
I think
But
he's too
do
small.
you want the combo of Trey Tucker and Tyler Scott as your gunners again this year?
No,
as
probably
awesome
not,
as
but
they are.
I don't know if JoJo's your gunner though. He's
Tyler, well, let's see him first. Trey Tucker's a small dude, it's small in size.
but he's super physical.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not as concerned about the height. I'm the physicality and getting off the
Let's see
block and right. But I just I'm not sure that's where his game fits. But
because let's be honest, the reason the Rake had a really good year. Mason Fletcher had a really good year. But the key reason Mason Fletcher had a really good year is because Tyler Scott and Trey Tucker suffocated punt returners.
Yeah.
Suffocated. Tight end. We don't have to say a whole lot here other than we haven't gotten your thought on this. Shimon Mateer hasn't had a week where he's run under 20 miles an hour in testing.
Yeah, it's awesome. Now let me see that translate to an actual football field.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying that in I just want to see it. Like, lots of dudes run fast. What's their play speed?
Does 6'5", 260-pound dudes run fast? Lots of those dudes?
Yeah.
No.
There's a lot of NFL tight ends that run fast.
Yeah.
But
in college, lots of those college redshirt freshmen.
I just want to see the play speed of it.
Yeah.
Like, you can run fast in a straight line or however they're measuring, but when your pads are on and dudes are in your way, and how fast do you play? I mean, you hope that it's something similar, but I just want to see it.
Have you been surprised that he's been up there every week in the top 5 every week in speed?
Not after he was up there initially. I didn't think he was all of a sudden going to go away.
You could 1 week run really as a track guy.
I don't know if 1 week you run 20 or 21, and then all of a sudden you dip back down off the board.
19. Yeah, you never know. So yeah, I mean, Josh, I'm guessing we won't see, or if we see, it'll be very limited. He's coming off. He broke his foot.
I wouldn't count on anything from him. And
broke his foot and had surgery at the end. He didn't have surgery at the end of the Cotton Bowl. He broke his foot at the end of the Cotton Bowl, and then had surgery shortly thereafter. If you saw when they had the recognition of the football team last Tuesday at Fifth Third Arena, Josh was still on crutches and in a walking boot. So generally, if you're 2 weeks from spring practice and you're on crutches and in a walking boot, my guess is we won't see you for spring practice.
No.
So a lot of work for Shimon. A lot of work for Caleb Schmitz. A lot of work for the kid I'm forgetting.
Peyton Singletary.
Yeah, that's the one.
I wouldn't think you'd see much from Lenny either.
Yeah, but he's healthy. He'll be out there.
Right, but out there, and I don't see a need to. I would much rather use the spring to see the younger tight ends.
Yeah, but you still want a veteran, if possible, out there setting the tone and letting them know what work looks like, and that you're going to see Lenny out there plenty. Offensive line. This is an interesting one to me because essentially you lose Vinny McConnell. Metz steps in there as a first-team all-conference guy that only started half of the season. Do you think we just see Mike Cummings come in and run it back with what they had? Do you think we see him tinker? Or is it going to be Tunstall, Cooper, Renfro, Metz, and O'Quinn, and he'll ride with that in year one?
I hope he tinkers because that's what the spring is for.
Who do you tinker with? I don't know.
I'd like to see who the second team tackles are going to be.
Cam Jones will be one.
And John Williams.
Probably John Williams.
I'd like to see them worked in with the ones. The interior guys from the ones.
So you want to see them at guard?
No, I want to see them at tackle.
Oh, along with the first team starters. Okay.
Yes. I think as someone who fully admits that evaluating offensive line is probably the hardest thing to do. I think they can get better at tackle. So I'm interested in willing to use the spring as that evaluation period.
Okay.
I just think they can do better or get better there.
I'm wondering, knowing what Mike Cummings prefers, do we get a look at Luke Collinsworth with the ones or with the twos maybe?
Yeah.
Big kid, right? That's 6'6", 6'7".
Yeah. I mean, isn't that kind of the same thing with Cam?
Yeah. But Cam wasn't naturally big. You had to build. Well, Cam was naturally big. Cam wasn't naturally, 300 pounds.
Well, he is now.
He is now. He's also coming off a knee injury.
We told you guys it was going to happen.
Well, yeah.
for the old heads,
give it a year and he'll be a tackle. Oh no, they're not going to move him to tackle. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that covers the offense pretty much, right?
Yeah. I am interested to see, from a block scheme standpoint, does anything change? I said I think they can do better at tackle. I also think they can get more push up the middle. I thought at times the inside run wasn't very effective.
Right.
They ran the ball. If you just look at raw numbers, they ran the ball well, but the effectiveness and the efficiency of it wasn't there. And it clearly, got exposed against Alabama. But that's not a knock necessarily, but that just shows you that it can improve.
I would agree. All right, you lined up other things for us to talk about. Timestamp, y'all. Spring preview offense. I thought we did pretty good there. We kept that to 20 minutes. I think that was a good primer for the people.
Yes. So the NFL Combine officially starts Monday. The on-field drills, I don't think start until the 3rd, maybe? I have to look at the schedule again. 3rd or 4th. Someone asked to guess Sauce's 40 time. So I thought we would take this a step further, and I came up with over-unders for all 8 projected Combine participants.
All right.
And we are going to say what we think their 40 times are over under, and I will mark them down.
And these are just educated guesses on your part.
Yes.
Okay.
I will mark them down on what we think, and then we will go off of, they run it twice. We will go off of their best 40 time as the official, over under mark.
Okay.
Who would you like to start with?
I don't care.
Okay, we'll start with Sauce since that one was brought up.
Yeah. Okay.
4.44.
I think he's going to run. This is the only one I've had because I saw the question. I had a number in mind, and it was below 4.44. Okay. I think Sauce runs a 4.42.
Okay. So Chad says under. I am also going to go under. But I think it's going to be very close to that.
Well, yeah, I said 4.42.
Yeah,
I'm pretty damn close to 4.44.
Yeah, I don't think he's a 4.3. If he runs a 4.3, shit.
If he runs a 4.3, he's in the top 10.
At 6'3", 200 pounds, that's moving. Okay, Kobe, 4.49.
I'll go under. I think he stays upper 4.4s.
All right. I'm going to go, just for the sake of this, I'm going to go over.
Okay. And I think the number, you've done a really good job on these first two numbers. Because they're right about where my brain is in terms of what I think where they're going to be.
Mm-hmm. Now,
4.5 would be tough for Kobe.
Yeah. I still think it would be okay, but like he just doesn't strike me as like a super and maybe I'll be wrong. Like
that we were very wrong on Derek Forrest last year.
That's true. We were super wrong on Derek Forrest, but I don't think we were wrong to think that going in.
No. I don't know that he showed us that.
I mean, he literally went from a fringe draft pick to a fifth rounder on his pro day.
Right.
Brian Cook, I'm not sure if he's going to participate. I have not.
Probably not because of his shoulder. Well, the reason being, even if his shoulder is okay, he hasn't gotten to train for 6 weeks like everybody else.
Right. So
I think if you're Cookie, I think you wait until pro day if you can go at all.
I had his number at 4.52.
I think he's significantly faster than that.
Okay.
I think he's in the mid 4.4s. Remember, he was a corner.
Right. Oh, yeah. It's just like running in the 4.4s is
it's really fast.
We get jaded a little bit because these tiny dudes come out there and do John Ross or run in the 4.3s like
right, 4.2s.
Dudes that are 6'1", 6'2", whatever he's going to weigh in at 210, 215, like running in the 4.4s is fucking fast.
Yeah, it's fast, no doubt.
So I'll say under on that, but we'll see what.
I don't think he's going to run.
I don't think he needs to. Like he's built a ton of buzz just from tape review.
Yeah.
And I don't think like you said, like the combine is very much about like training for the events. And I've heard some interesting stuff like that there's talk that they're going to totally revamp the combine soon because guys have basically learned how to train for the event so much that the numbers they put up are just not what they really are as a football player. Like especially in like the 3-cone and the short shuttle, like those things are not indicative of what you do on the field, and they've just trained those each step. Like it's gotten to that point where they literally drill down each step of the 3-cone drill to maximize your speed. And that doesn't really show like, can you truly bend and change direction like that when you're coming off the edge in pads in the third or fourth quarter with the 315-pound offensive lineman leaning on you?
Right.
Jerome Ford, 4.42.
Ooh. With the speed we saw from him, and game speed and running in a straight line speed, like running a 40 speed are different. How is he not a 4.3? Like we saw him run away from everybody constantly.
You would think, but that's just such a hard number to get to.
I know it is. I'll go under because I just can't imagine he's a 4.4 guy. Watching him do what he does, like it just
I think he's right on that number: 4.41, 4.42, 4.43, something like that. I'll say over. I'll say 4.43. Pierce 4.41.
I think he's right there. 4.1, 4.2, 4.41, 4.42. I think he's right there. Can I take the push?
that kind of defeats the purpose of over-unders.
Well, but if you want over-unders, you're gonna like 0.5 or like
right. I mean, you're not gonna get anything deeper than that. You're not gonna get down to the whatever. I'll give you a push. I'm gonna say
4-4-1.
I'm gonna say under. I think his testing is going to blow people's minds. I think he's in the 4.3s.
Okay. I think where he blows minds is with the vertical.
Oh, the vertical for sure. Like
the broad jump.
Obviously, I don't know a bunch about the other draft picks at wide receiver. But like of the top guys, outside of Chris Olave, they're like, and Garrett Wilson, but I don't know. Like, I think his jump is going to be, he might have the highest jump of anybody in the class.
He might have the highest, like, vertical and broad.
Yeah. Okay, so we go to Maije, 4.64.
I think he's slower than that. I think he's high 4.5, low 4.6.
I think he is too. If he gets under 4.6, I think that'll be really, really good. I'll be a little surprised on that.
I would go 4.58, 4.59. I think he's just barely under 4.6.
Okay.
But I think we've seen the explosiveness from him that you feel comfortable he's a 4.5 guy.
Do you have the carry like
for 40 yards?
The 10-yard split will probably be really good.
Yeah.
But like, where does
he's long and twitchy though. Like he's not bulky where I think you get, and if he's trained for it for 6 weeks,
right?
I think we'll see him get under 4.6.
Again, 6 whatever he is, like
6'5", 240.
Yeah, he was 240. Was he at the Senior Bowl? Was he 242?
I think so.
Like, I'll be interested to see what he weighs in at the combine because I feel like he needs to be up in the 2.5s.
If he's 250, then maybe it's over 4.6.
Right.
I think if the lighter he is, the better his 40 is.
Dez, 4.55.
I know I've gone a lot of unders. I'll still go slightly under. I trust Brady.
Literally all of them except for the Pierce push.
Yeah.
You've gone under.
Well, I think a couple of them have been right on. I think a couple of them have been a touch too high in terms of where the over-under is set. With 4, I could see Dez right at 4.51, 4.52.
I just know everyone thinks they're going to be fast, and then when it comes down to it, there's always not as fast as you thought.
Yeah, but again, we go back to last year, and these guys were all faster than we thought.
Oh, right.
I think Brady does such a great job.
I think 4.55 is like right on it for him. Like I think anything in the 4.5s is fine.
Yeah, I just think he's going to be a little bit lower than that.
I'll say under 2, and then Beavers 4.59.
Slightly over. I think he's a 4.6. Low 4.6. And I could be wildly wrong on that one.
He's a tough one. He was a tough one for me to come up with. Because I didn't want to go too high in the 4.6s because then I felt like, oh, he'll get under that. But then you start going into 4.5s and you're like, is the 260-pound dude really going to run like a 4.56?
Right.
So I'm going to say under just for the fun of it.
All right.
But it'll be interesting. I mean, they're going to have, the way they split it up, they're going to have dudes every day.
Right.
Are
we Wednesday?
Next week?
Yeah, I think there's basketball Tuesday, Thursday, isn't there?
I don't know.
Houston and SMU. I think it's Tuesday, Thursday.
That sounds like a fun week.
At Houston, at SMU, yeah.
Yeah, so
at Houston, we'll be Wednesday.
We won't really be able to know about this next week. This will be a 2 weeks from now thing.
What's your work schedule on Fridays?
I don't know why. It just depends.
Maybe we do like we had some success with like the happy hour thing Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Like late afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we do like an hour or like 45 minutes Friday.
Yeah.
Friday late
I think
afternoon.
they live coverage, and I don't know when the testing and stuff actually starts, but I think TV coverage on NFL Network starts at 4. So we might be able to talk about a little bit, see what's going on then.
Like go 4 to 5 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they'll test like there'll be groups that go before Friday though, right?
Yeah, quarterbacks are first. But it's like you get there and you do all this stuff, and on your 4th day there is your testing day. So I think it starts on the 1st, but the testing
That's Tuesday.
Yeah, the testing doesn't start then until like their 4th day.
Oh, okay.
So Friday, I think.
All right. Well, maybe not. I don't know. We'll figure something out.
For sure.
I have one for you.
Okay.
I'm going to have to answer this tomorrow on radio.
Okay.
So I want to get your opinion. If you are the Bengals and you had to pick a Bearcat, who would it be considering current roster construction, draft position, et cetera, et cetera?
Super easy.
Okay. Brian Cook?
Brian Cook.
That's mine too.
Absolutely.
Box safety, like he fits.
Third, 4th round, he's the heir apparent to Von Bell.
Yeah.
That one's so easy. I'm
glad I'm on this. I'm glad I'm on the same page.
On my PFF simulations, I've been mocking him to the Bengals consistently in that range.
Have you been getting him in the 4th, or have you had to?
Because for some reason they have the comp pick projections, I guess, are out. They have them getting a 4th round comp pick, so they have like pick 137 and 133, and I've usually got him there.
Okay.
Now, we'll see. This stuff always gets updated when, as more information is out. And if he doesn't participate at the combine, and that's the thing is like, that's what I laugh about is people are like, well, you're doing these simulations. It's like, oh, that guy will never be there. Well, how do I know that? Like, you can only draft the guys that are there. Like some guys I know, like the defensive end from Minnesota is probably a 1st round pick, and where they have him rated, he's like still there in the 3rd round. So I don't draft him because I'm like, that one definitely isn't going to happen. But you can only draft the dudes that are there.
Right.
So you can't
be like, well, I can't draft him. I don't think he's going to be there.
Right. But yeah, he would be the one that, would make the most sense from a true realistic, like talent, need, position in the draft. That's who I think.
Is Beavers possible?
I don't think so. Like they just I don't know where they seem to be pretty set with Pratt and Wilson, and they just don't play 3 linebackers. They have their, they
pretty much have their coverage guy, their tight end guy, right?
Wilson is that guy.
Yeah, who's the other one that kind of came on late?
Well, that's Trey Flowers.
If
they re-sign him, he's a bigger DB. He's almost like he's a DB by trade, but he's a huge dude.
Yeah.
Which I hope they do re-sign him because he was real big in the Kansas City in the AFC Championship game. But yeah, they've got your 4 down front, you got your 2 linebackers, and then you kind of have your corners and safeties. And like Flowers played a lot as that kind of hybrid linebacker, 3rd safety.
Nickel, right? 3rd safety.
I just don't like. I just see him in more of a true 3-4 where they're really playing like 4 linebackers a lot.
Right. I feel you. Okay, go ahead with your other stuff.
One that I think is a good one, but I want to save it till after the combine. So, Michael, if you're listening, remind us if we forget. is round predictions on UC draft picks. I think
Sauce won.
Sauce won. I think it's I hate saying this because I'm not a fan of the combine, but I think it's a huge week for Dez.
Yeah, did you see Austin Gale's
mock
today?
He's got him safely in the first round.
Well, did you see what he did though?
No, I don't know if I mean, is it different than his mock that he put out on the earlier this week?
This came out today, I think. He had him at 20, but not to the Steelers. He had the Steelers trading 20 to the Raiders.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I've seen it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they get David Carr for the 20th.
Yeah, pick. they get Carr to the Pittsburgh feeling like they need an older guy to come in and be their stopgap, so they're not taking a rookie to be the heir apparent.
I still think that QB1 spot is up in the air.
I do too.
Well,
here's the problem, I think. Normally, QB1 is pick one. So we only have to focus on one team,
or at least pick top 5. I mean,
who does team one like as QB1?
Right.
We have no idea who's going to take a quarterback first.
No, and Matt Corral, this is his first time anybody's seen him, and I think he is QB1 for some people. So does he solidify that? Does it jumble it up even more?
Right.
I don't know. It'll be interesting because these guys. When it comes down to it, guys are going to get pushed up because they just always do. So,
for sure.
Where does that leave? Where does that leave Dez? I mean, I hope he goes as high as possible, but I also want him to go as just a fan of him. I want him to go to a good situation. I would like him to go to Atlanta, but that would mean the second round. So I would like him to go higher than that.
Right. All right. Get back to us after the combine. Send Dave, the Bearcat Journal account, a tweet after the combine, and Dave will give you his round by round predictions. And then you'll probably have to do it again after Pro Day, which is March 24th?
Yeah, something like that.
Any other questions you wanted to get to from the peanut gallery?
We have a couple food ones. There was some stuff about chicken parms and bread bar.
Dave, I'm so sad.
I bet. I mean, I'm sad because I never made it there. What did we know what happened? Why are we shutting down?
So they shut down a couple weeks ago. They were having some staffing issues, and their HVAC went out. And I guess they just couldn't recover from being shut down for a couple weeks. And today they officially shut the door. There was an Inquirer article that you had to be behind the paywall.
Sure.
And I'm not paying for the Inquirer. So, hold on.
It is funny that, as with the Bengals' success, a lot of Bengal fans have started to realize how crappy the Inquirer is, which just makes me laugh. I'm like, we've known this forever, guys. They went after our favorite editor for his headline after the Super Bowl and some tweets that he apparently sent.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey, as the UC fans know.
Right?
We could have told you that one. I got a draft of Cincinnati chili parlors. I am not the best person to answer this, as I think I've only really been to Skyline and Blue Ash Chili.
Okay.
But and I only get Coney's. I don't want to offend any potential sponsors, so I don't know if we should rank Cincinnati chili parlors. But I will just ask you: do you have a particular favorite Cincinnati/Northern Kentucky chili parlor, and why?
Yeah, I mean, there's no secret. I'm a Dixie chili guy.
Why do you like that more than the others?
One, because I grew up on it and it's all I knew.
Nostalgia.
Well, it just was like that was the one closest to it. Like there wasn't a Skyline or a Gold Star like right directly by where I lived. You had to go like 3 miles this way or 3 miles that way. And Dixie chili was right there in the heart of Erlanger. And that's what we ate. We ate Dixie chili. The reason I like, as I've now dabbled in all the other, like it's a little thicker. Like it's got a little more.
It's more of a chili than a sauce.
Well, it's still sauce, but it's not like runny.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Like, yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure. I mean, that's why, if we're being completely honest, I prefer Detroit Conies to our Conies.
It's chili.
It's more chili.
Yeah. And it's like it's more of a mom and pop. The Siracusanis family still runs.
It's like a one-off, and
there's 3 of them. There's one in the Newport's the original. There's one in Erlanger. There's one in Covington. And it's just been like that's always been my spot. And now where we lived and like where we lived before we moved, it was like 30 minutes to like about 20, 25 minutes to get there. And then 20, 25 minutes to get back. It was like an hour.
So it's not top of mind when you're thinking of places to go, just from the time.
Well, Skyline where we lived was 5 minutes away.
Right. So you're not going to drive 20 minutes past.
Right.
Now
in the new place, I can be there in like 12 minutes. I have also become more akin, Dave. Do you do like the homemade? Like you get the cans and make your own cheese conies or make your own three-ways?
No, because my wife is not a fan. So
yeah.
Mine
is.
If I eat Skyline, it's on my own. So
mine is. So we will we've done just gotten cans of Dixie chili and hot dogs and buns. Here's a secret: if you've got an air fryer, if you're doing cheese conies, take the buns, wrap them in foil, and just put them in the air fryer for like a minute and a half, and you get that kind of soft bun that you get when you go to one of the coney places.
We did get a kit of Detroit style conies sent to us. So
nice.
We did make those one time, but it's whenever I say like, whenever I say like I feel like some conies, she's like, well, you can do that on your own.
You know what I'm big on Detroit style?
Pizza.
Jets. Detroit style pizza is delicious.
Jets 8 corner, man.
Turbo
crust, well done. Can't beat it.
Detroit style pizza is very, very good. I also love Sicilian. So like Adriatico.
They're very similar.
Yeah, they're not the Detroit style is a little more well done, a little more cooked.
I think it's just Sicilian. A little bit thicker crust, not quite. Yeah. But yes.
So you got to cook it a little more, and it gets a little.
Jets double pepperoni, turbo crust, well done, 8 corner.
But yeah, like I'm a Dixie chili guy. That's what I grew up on. But I'm still Skyline. I don't have any like Skyline. I eat plenty. I had Skyline today because it was National Chili Day. So I got Taryn and I. How about this? I get Taryn and I Skyline. I get to the radio station. They had Skyline there for everybody. Would have been nice if somebody would have let me know that.
They didn't tell anybody they had it?
They told like the lunch crew, the people that worked lunch hours. I was 3 to 6 afternoon drive, but there was leftovers and nobody said anything.
It's just
crap.
Poor working conditions.
It is, without question.
Okay, I have one question, but I have another one too that kind of goes into this.
Okay.
The question is, what does a perfect Bengals offseason look like? But I want to first go and ask you this. So the last 2 years, the Bengals have signed, obviously spent considerable amount of money in free agency, but they have signed what I would consider for them to be one marquee free agent.
Hendrickson.
2 years ago, it was DJ Reader. Last year, it was Trey Hendrickson.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think want that person to be this year?
I want them to trade 31 for Laramie Tunsil.
Laramie Tunsil?
Yeah.
I do too, but I think it would cost more than 31, so I don't think they'll do it if that's
okay. 31 and Trey Waynes. Deal.
Yes. The Texans are run poorly. I do not think they're run that poorly.
31, Trey Waynes, Bengals second for the Texans third.
Oh, it gets even better.
Deal.
Yeah.
Come on. They get a first round pick, a second round pick, and a starting corner.
Yeah. Yeah, uh-huh. So we can have the third pick and draft a left or right tackle. And
look, I think it's time. The process is changing. I am, Dave. I'm not a giant NFL guy. I know the NFL. I follow the NFL, but I'm not like laser focused on the NFL. When I see these trades for Pro Bowl type players,
oh sure.
And it's like so-and-so gave up a fourth round pick. And I'm like, that guy's a 3-time Pro Bowler that's 28.
That to me is the final frontier of this whole new Bengals is they have held so firmly onto draft capital forever because it was so important
because they were drafting 8th.
Well, and when you don't participate in free agency.
Right.
Like, I totally understand never wanting to give up draft picks.
If that was the only way you were building your team.
When you don't participate in free agency. Like, now that they do, are they going to change their mentality on that draft picks are not these, like, not to the point of that the Rams are, because they're never going to be that. They can't be that for numerous different reasons.
Look, Laramie Tunsil's still what, 30 or 20?
27. He's got 2 years left on his. He's got 2 years left on his contract. Roughly $18 million a year. The Texans would be on the hook for some of that in signing bonus money.
He has started since he came in the league.
He's a very good tackle.
It's wartime, and he knows how to use a gas mask.
What are you going? And here's the thing.
Oh, come on! You can't laugh at that.
No, believe me. It's still one of my favorite draft moments of all time.
You were just gonna cruise right by it, like I didn't even say it.
No.
I didn't make that joke on radio today because I didn't think it would go over well on radio.
Oh, I think you could have made it. I don't know, because the people that know would know, and the people that don't wouldn't.
Yeah, still, that's one that like the GM might come in and be like, "Hey, ixnay on the the Orway jokes."
Yeah,
but I saved it for this, and you just glossed right over it, like I didn't. Sorry, it didn't even fucking happen.
In a thought train. But like, what are you getting at 31?
That's better than Laramie Tunsil.
Exactly.
Nothing.
And if that means you've got to throw in a third or whatever, like, I mean, your window is basically his. Now, your window can be expanded, but your true window is really the length of the rest of his contract.
Right. Because
he's got 2 years left. You could franchise him after the second year. He'll be 30. Like, he'll be coming. Now, obviously, you'll have hopefully re-signed Burrow prior to that, but that would be Burrow's 5th-year option, the end of his deal. Like, that is truly your window, is the next 3 years.
I just get sick of seeing these guys with this much talent. The Texans are going to trade him.
That's the other thing. They're going to trade him. Like,
go get him.
They're going to.
Go get him. Go get Laramie Tunsil. If you talk about fixing this offensive line, how much different does everything look with Laramie Tunsil at left tackle?
For sure.
Now you have, Jonah Williams at right tackle. You re-sign Riley Reif and you put him at guard. Are you a Quentin Spain guy?
I'm okay with Quentin Spain as like your first guy off the bench.
Okay.
I
worry we're still in this world where the Bengals don't value guards when they've watched Joe Burrow get his face beat in up the middle for 2 years.
To change this offseason.
I hope so. That's the dumbest shit I've ever. We don't value guards.
I don't know if it's, and this is another thing, right or wrong. Like they put a value price on a player position and they just don't move off of it. I think that's part of the reason that we haven't seen them do a lot of trades is that they overvalue or undervalue to such an extent that there's no wiggle room with them. And that honestly is to your benefit more than your detriment. Because that's how you
yes.
That's how you don't end up getting this into a New Orleans Saints situation where there's $76 million over the salary cap.
Right.
Which is not real money anyway. There's all sorts of mechanisms and ways that teams are. It becomes due at some point, but you can really push it down the line a long time. But kind of getting back to the original thought, Laramie Tunsil, yes, but just from a strictly free agent standpoint, I would love to see them sign J.C. Jackson, like corner from New England. And I know it's not the offensive line thing, but like the DJ Reader thing came out of left field. Like no one was expecting them to be
that's fair.
Interested in a tackle or in a defensive tackle and to pay what they paid. I just think they're going to what level, I'm not sure yet, but they're going to address the offensive line with outside guys, I think, especially up the middle. The tackle market is frankly trash. You're either trading for a Laramie Tunsil or your only two other options are really Orlando Brown and Teron Armstead that are serious contributors. Orlando Brown might get franchise tagged, and while Teron Armstead is very, very good, he's 30, will command probably $17 to $20 million a year, and in 6 of his 9 years has missed 5 games or more.
Here's where I think they are brilliant in their free agent strategy for the most part. We want guys 27 and under, like
second contract, but proven players.
We are not being that place where guys go to get their final paycheck.
Yeah, Trey Hendrickson, Awuzie, Mike Hilton, DJ Reader.
Guys hungry to prove themselves, had some success. For whatever reason, it didn't work out where they were, usually money.
And that hits them well on the interior of the offensive line this year because you have guys like Connor Williams from Dallas, Austin Corbett from the Rams, James Daniels from the Bears, that are all 2018 draft picks. So they're all 24, 25, 26, whatever that might be. Second contract. Corbett, this would be a third team. He was drafted from the Browns, traded to the Rams.
Right.
But you're still getting younger guys, but that have played.
Yeah.
And with that many options at guard, and center, there's some options at center too if they choose.
Are you all in on them? The guy from Tampa Bay.
I mean, yes and no. I guess
I've seen him projected to the Bengals
many
times.
He's he didn't grade out. Actually, pass blocking, he graded out worse than Trey Hopkins this year. But I think they just need more power up the middle, and I think he would provide that. They've been linked
we need more power.
They've been linked to Bradley Bozeman from the Ravens, actually today, who is a 2015 draft pick. So he's a little bit older, but he's still under 30. And not super athletic, but was, I think, second this year on offensive lineman pass block win rate. And I think
give me somebody that wins. Like, I just want somebody to stand there and block the dude in front of him.
I do wonder, like with Hopkins, how much of this year was coming back from the knee injury, which everybody made a big deal about Burrow coming back, and rightfully so.
Hopkins was week 16, right?
He tore his knee in January.
Yeah.
Burrow tore his in November, and he was back for the first game. So how much of it was that, and how much of his play was affected because of the right fucking guard being an absolute turnstile?
Right.
Like, that
was a disaster, right?
Like, if he didn't have to,
you could add Adeniji in the deal for Laramie Tunsil.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's what would put it over.
And
the top.
Isaiah Prince.
Yeah, those would definitely help seal it.
31, Adeniji, Prince. Can we still trade Billy Price?
No. Which that trade
worked out pretty well.
You got BJ Hill and a pick for that guy?
Yeah. Now you know why the Giants are trash.
But I think, the next part of the question, what does a perfect Bengals offseason look like? To me, it looks like they do what is necessary to make the 31st pick be truly whatever best player they think is there.
Laramie Tunsil.
I mean, if that's what it is, that's what it is. I'm just saying, like,
I'm just saying there's no one at 31 that's Laramie Tunsil.
No, but there's players at 31 that are not offensive linemen that I think make a solid impact next year.
No, I agree. I don't disagree with you there.
If they do what we all hope they do in free agency with the offensive line, like, don't put yourself in a position like they did when they drafted Billy Price.
Right.
Like, don't make it be like, oh, well, we didn't get this fixed in free agency, so now we got to get this guy, even though this guy is probably the 40th pick and not the 31st pick.
Right. And was actually probably the 212th pick.
I mean,
all right. People are probably going to get mad. We talked about the Bengals this much, but
that's what most of the responses were about, things to talk about.
People want to hear you talk about the Bengals. You need a Bengals podcast.
Oh, apparently I do.
That's what the people want, Dave.
Well, I mean, if they follow my personal Twitter, they get a Bengals offseason offensive line thought of the day almost daily.
They want a Bengals podcast.
Well, maybe we'll have to give one to them.
Who's your co-host?
I don't know. Aaron?
I mean, Aaron would have to produce it, so it makes sense that he would be the co-host.
I don't know. Who else,
Do we start Bengals Journal and make you the publisher?
No, that would require me to do like a lot more work.
Not necessarily. Just do a podcast, put the podcast up there, and let people talk on the message board.
No.
Anyway, just kidding.
They're fun. They're fun to talk about now.
Right? Finally.
I mean, assuming there is a baseball season, how much heat in 1 year did they just put on the Reds?
The Reds don't care.
I don't know if Ed's told you, but you have an open invite anytime you want to come on to Pardon the Punctuation. He said it on the podcast. I know that much to be true. But you have an open invite to come on and talk draft anytime you want. I just know since we start at 9:15, that's a little past your bedtime.
Well, I can come on at the beginning if you want me to. I mean,
if you're feeling froggy, let us know Tuesday.
Tell me when. I mean, I'll be happy to come on and talk some Bengals.
I'll talk to the boys.
Just tell me what day I can be on early. I mean, I'm up right
Tuesdays, 9:15.
now. I'm up right now. Not like I go to bed. It's not like I go to bed at 7.
With Aaron Hammer and White Claws.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Aaron, did you see what has been released in Florida, Tennessee, and Iowa as of today?
No.
Hard Mountain Dew.
Oh, I did see that. Can't wait. I will say that the Baja flavor by March 1st is fantastic.
I will be heading to Tennessee this weekend.
It's your annual Vols trip, right?
It is.
Are they playing?
Auburn.
A lot of love in the gym for that one.
We picked a good one back in the fall when we had no idea that Auburn was going to be this damn good. But yes, I'll be trying to pick up some Hard Mountain Dew to give that a try.
Nice.
It's 5% alcohol, so it's nothing crazy.
Yeah, I messed up getting the 8% White Claws.
Oh, the stronger ones.
The surge ones. Yeah, that was where I messed up.
You need to try the Budweiser Hard Colas.
All right, we'll see about that.
We did a sampling for those, and literally, I've never seen anything like it. Every person was like, "These are amazing. They taste just like cherry Coke, or just like Sprite, or just like orange soda."
That's dangerous.
Yeah. So,
by the way, I did want to throw out the Tampa guy that was never mentioned by name is Ryan Jensen.
Ryan Jensen, yeah.
There was never a name thrown out. It was just
the Tampa guy.
Are you into the Tampa guy? No,
Yeah.
not. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go either way on the Tampa guy.
Tom Brady,
Rob Gronkowski.
I mean, Gronk would be fun, and I think it would work for the 8 to 10 games he would actually be healthy for. But they just don't use the tight end.
You can't rely on him as a starter. I think.
Are you re-signing CJ Uzomah? Or are you sending him off to WWE?
I'm making an effort, but
less than what
he makes
on the last.
He makes
contract.
He makes $6.1 million this year. Are you willing to go to like 7.5, or are you letting him walk?
Well, in my fan speak mock free agency that I did the other day, I offered him 3 years, like probably around 6.5, and he turned it down.
So we'll find out how much CJ loves Cincinnati, right?
Like, they just don't. I mean, they run more 11 personnel than almost anybody in the NFL. Like, I just feel like you just draft a dude in the 3rd or 4th round. And you start over.
That's not a blocker. That's a pass catcher.
Right, like a Jeremy Ruckert from Ohio State, Greg Dulcich from UCLA. You know, how much is locker room influence and those type of things worth? I don't know. Like, but if you just don't really use the position, do you really need to pay a guy that's had some injury troubles like $7 million a year or more? Like, I know that's probably a unpopular take because CJ, you know, seems like a fun guy and everything, but like the Reds made a decade out of signing fan favorites, and we saw how that worked.
Mushrooms, also a fun guy.
Oh God, there's the dad joke.
Couldn't resist.
Thank you.
Couldn't resist.
The better one though, the one I'm, do you draft Punt God in the 5th round and you just have like the most dynamic special teams unit in the history of the NFL?
They like kickers 5th round.
I wouldn't hate it.
I mean, I wouldn't hate it. I'd be doing like backflips, but then you'd have those fans who are like, can't believe they used the 5th round.
Not anymore. Not after Evan
McPherson.
McPherson.
Bullshit. You know that there's
Not on
going
a punter.
to be people. that are
yeah.
going to say that.
You'd get dunked all over for taking a punter with the 5th round pick. But I'd also
Wasn't Hubert taken in the 5th round?
That
Yeah.
was a decade and a half ago.
Yeah, because he was good enough for a decade and a half.
I'd also pay money, good money, to watch Dave Simone do backflips.
No, that's not happening.
You brought it up.
But if they had Punt God and McPherson, holy shit. That would be a lot of fun.
Darren Simmons just like never leaves. Like he's got the best job in the world for the next 15 years.
I mean, how good is that guy had it?
Yeah.
NFL football coach that has not been a head coach and has been in the same city for like 20 years.
He was in Miami, wasn't he?
No, not Simmons. He's been here since Marvin hired him.
I thought he left to go to the Miami Dolphins at one point.
No, he's been here the whole time.
I'm not sure that's true.
I am.
You're going to test Dave on Bengals knowledge?
That's true. Jason says, can Punt God get a snap down on field goals? Huber is a good holder. He is. But Huber ain't bombing no 70-yarders anymore either. So he's had a lot of kicks in that leg.
By the way, if you know Chef Corey Colton at Bread Bar, like get us in touch. We got to figure out a way to keep that guy and his chicken parm sandwich in Cincinnati. Period.
Maybe we can get a food truck.
No, there's got to be a restaurant that'll hire a guy that makes the best chicken parm sandwich I've ever had. Period. Somebody had come on.
I mean, Cincinnati, for as good as the food scene is, as an Italian, it's kind of lacking. I mean, you have Soto, you have Boca for your higher end, and
I like the one in on Ludlow.
I'm not familiar.
Bocce something. I don't know. I can't think of it off the top of my head. It's very good. The chef, they just have the little the little one burner things.
Yeah.
And he does everything. He makes all the sauces handmade, right in front of you.
Here, you'll enjoy this. The best meal I had in LA when I was there was chicken parm at an Italian place.
See? I was sad today, Dave. I found out that news in the 2:00 hour leading into the show at 3:00. I was devastated for the start of the show that they weren't reopening. Devastated. I'll just end this episode with rest in peace, Bread Bar. It was a good run. It was a short run. But what can you do?
Yep. Bella
Things
Luna.
happen.
Jason, again, Bella Luna was good Italian. That was by our old house, too. That was good.
Oh, well. All right. Let's get out of here. We'll see you next week. Wednesday, I guess, next week, since it's sandwiched between at Houston and at SMU on Tuesday and Thursday. I don't know that there's anything I'm looking forward to less than that experience.
Well, at least they're both not at home.
Yeah, true. Senior Day, Saturday. This is a weird Senior Day, right? Because it's just Koval and Abdul.
Yeah, I think so, right?
Julius has said he's not walking. He hasn't made his decision.
Right.
And Newman, I guess, Wes said on the coaches show tonight, he's not walking either. Usually Senior Day is emotional, right? It's a guy at least there's a couple guys. There might be a transfer that's graduating, whatever. But there's guys that the fan base is emotionally attached to.
Oh, yeah.
That's not really the case this year. So it's going to be a weird Senior Day. But
what about Sam Martin?
I'm emotionally attached to Sam Martin. I love me some Sam Martin.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a new offensive lineman offered. 6'5", 295.
Seems small. I'm out.
DJ Chester from Eagles Landing Christian Academy in McDonough, Georgia.
Seems small. I like him. I like him bigger in the lower half.
6'7", 320.
Right. Give me those guys. All right. He's Dave Simone. I'm Chad Brendel. Thanks as always to producer extraordinaire, the number 3 producer in the city, Aaron Smith. We'll see you next time. It's the BCJ podcast, brought to you by the Holy Grail, right here on BearcatJournal.com.